Guys, if you're a trade business owner in the UK, you really need to start getting savvy with taxes in this country, guys. Unlike most jobs in the UK, let's pick on a postman, for example. A postman is taxed at source, as I'm sure you know. He gets his wages, and before it drops into his bank account, the taxman reaches his hand in and takes out his cut. Guys, as business owners, right, the taxman doesn't have that luxury. And to the point where you decide how much tax you pay him by leveraging your profits elsewhere. There's so many ways you can do that, but I mean, by the way, all legal, of course. Okay, anything I talk to you about on this channel is legal, of course. Okay, now the easiest way to do that, the biggest impact you can have on how much tax you pay is your pension. You and your spouse, if he or she happens to be on the directorship, can pay up to £60,000 into a pension. So let's say you make £120,000 profit in your trade business this year. Okay, you will of course be charged 24% corporation tax on that. And then when you go to extract what's left into your personal account, you'll be taxed at anything from 20 to 50%, pretty much. Okay, massive, massive taxes. I mean, depending on your number, you could argue that it's going to be half your profit. Is basically you're actually going to receive. Okay, so what we want to do there is we want to get creative with that 120 grand. Okay, and for example, we could put 60 grand in your pension, 60 grand in your partner's. Right? You probably don't want to do that because well, you're not going to see it for many, many years. So there's so many other ways that you can get creative about where you leverage that money and where you put that money. So, of course, you could put it in a pension. You could do an intercompany loan and move it to a property company, for example. You could obviously have your spouse on the directorship or the payroll if he or she isn't already. If you have children over the age of 13, they can go on the payroll and you give them a job within the actual business. You can, of course, invest it back into the business, of course, and sort of grow the business. You could invest it into marketing. You could spend 10 grand to make 20 type thing, or spend 50 to make 100, or whatever your sort of marketing ROI is. Check that, find out what it is. If you have a good ROI in, let's say, Facebook ads, for example, then can throw some money at Facebook ads. If there's another route to market for you, then perhaps consider throwing money there. But the last thing you want to do is essentially take that money out into your bank account because you're going to get hammered with tax. Okay, and there's so many other ways you can leverage that money without physically taking it from your business account into your personal account because that, guys, is how you get hammered in tax. Have a good day.